Hi guys, welcome to another episode of TVS Conversations, and I am your host Oreoluwa and Tito. It's interesting that I always introduce myself as the host because I feel like there's going to be a day that I'm not going to be the host, but let's see. You never know, right? And I'm not here alone. You can see I have an amazing gentleman here right beside me. Now, a background story on Tito. I met Tito at the Creator Economy Incubator program, and one of the first things that stood out for me about Tito was how very open he was, right? And this was before I even knew that he knew everybody in Lagos, right? This was before I knew he knew everybody that matters in Lagos. Tito knows them, right? And immediately, I got to engage with him and was very open, asking questions. I'm like, I want to have a sit-down conversation with you. So first of all, I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself to everybody. Over to you.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. My name is Tito Abumere. As I reach for my phone and put it on silence, bad podcast etiquette. My name is Tito Abumere, and I'm a media entrepreneur. I'm a photographer. I'm also a podcaster. I have a podcast called the 30-Minute Podcast. But I think these days, most people know me for video content creation. I'm a YouTuber. I have 2 YouTube channels. One where I review Nollywood movies, and then another one where I talk about personal finance. So the incubator program where we met, I applied for that and got in based on being a personal finance YouTuber. So yeah, so you either know me for photography, from my podcast, or from YouTube.
I have like 3 questions for him.
All at once.
You just said,
I just said okay.
But I'm going to calm down and try to take it one by one, right? So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, you mentioned you're into podcasting. You mentioned you're also into personal finance, right? You also mentioned you review movies for Nollywood. Now, these 3 things, just taking them, and you're also a photographer.
Yes.
Right. So, and I know that you also do video editing, because your video editing skills is like, I'm never gonna lie. Your video editing.
I'm not on like Mistaki's level.
But
nobody's on Mistaki's level. To be honest, I didn't know.
Right. But how do you manage to balance everything? So when people ask you to introduce yourself, right? What's the one thing that you're gonna say that this is one thing that defines me?
Good question. Most times I just say I'm a photographer, even though of all the things I do, photography is the one I do the least these days. I do more of the video stuff. But I think I say that because it's the one that is easiest for people to understand
and relate to it.
Because if I say I'm a YouTuber, I do video content creation, I'm a video editor, it will require follow-up questions and all that. And I mean, if I feel like we can have the conversation, or I want to have that conversation where I talk more, then fine. Or if I feel like I want to connect with this person based on my personal finance, like if I were to meet like a bank executive or somebody who could sponsor the personal finance content, then I'd probably lead with that. So yeah, but to your question about how do I juggle all of them, right? I try my best. I don't do a great job at it, to be honest. I don't do a great job at it. Like I said, I have a podcast. I'm 2 weeks behind. An episode does not come out every week, but now I'm 2 weeks behind. And that's because, we're in the festive season now and there are just things happening. I have a client that I'm working with right now for her 2025 content. So a lot of my own things have been pushed to the back seat. So it's not easy. And I think at the end of the day, what determines what is at the forefront for me work-wise is at the end of the day money, because nobody wants to be a struggling or a hungry creative.
Very, very true. So very true. Do you have like a favorite among like all the things you do? Parents always say that they don't have a favorite child, but we know
there's one that they're really proud of. I would say I enjoy the YouTube stuff. I like making YouTube videos. The Nollywood reviews. So on the Nollywood review channel, which is called Tito's second channel, which is on YouTube, I review Tito second channel. I didn't have.
It feels like I cannot think.
I don't bother me. I can't stress. It's easy to remember. I didn't want to rack my brain, so I just called it Tito second channel.
I like how simple that is.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a second channel. It's called
Tito second channel. Yeah. So there, think like Funke Akindele's film, Everybody Loves Jennifer, is coming out soon. I'm going to review that once it comes out. It's easy for me to do that kind of thing. I watch the film, have some thoughts, put it in some professional critiquing language, and I can put it out there, But with the personal finance stuff, I need to do more research.
Yeah.
There's more thought and more effort and more editing that goes into
fact check everything that
exactly. Yes, and when you're talking about money, you have to be very careful about telling people what to do with their money.
Yeah.
And you have to throw a few disclaimers out there. So while I do enjoy both YouTube channels, the Nollywood one comes easier for me. Right. So, but if, between editing, photography, and video creation or video making, I'd say video making is my favorite.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. I want us to analyze the last movie you watch in the next 2 minutes. Can we do that?
Okay, we can do that.
What was the last
it's a
Nollywood
film I watched? Yeah. It's a film called Suspicion.
Okay.
It came out on Prime Video last Thursday, and it's directed by Tosin Igo, and it stars Stanton Nze, Omomi Dada, Uzo Arukwe, Tinamba, and it's about this guy that has like mystical, like jazz powers, like black magic powers. But he's the protagonist, right? And his friend is killed and his friend's kid is killed. So he's kind of like a private investigator, but with powers. So yeah,
I'm trying to see how the modern part is overlapping, like
traditional
part.
I think that was the idea of the movie, to merge those two, right? And an American film that did that was like Constantine, which is a film that starred Keanu Reeves. He was this guy that had like all these mystical powers, like had a like kind of like a deal with the devil and stuff like that. And he was solving like eerie, mysterious, spooky cases on Earth. You're right. So this film was kind of similar to that.
It was anything that stood out for you in the movie?
A lot stood out. A lot stood out. I filmed the review, but I haven't. So in fact, I haven't posted it. I haven't finished editing it. So you guys are kind of like getting the exclusive. What stood out? It was an action from the fight scenes. So it was. And in Nigeria, we don't get a lot of action because action is hard in this part of the world.
Definitely.
So the fight scenes, it's kind of like action thriller. So the action was actioning, as they say, so it wasn't too bad. But I think they focused on the action at the expense of the story. So because the story wasn't as fluid as it could have been.
Okay.
Yeah, because you find yourself as you're watching, you're wondering, okay, so how did this guy get these powers?
Too many loopholes.
Yeah, things like that,
Good. So you guys, if you want to know more about that, check out Tito's second YouTube channel.
Tito's second channel where I do my Nollywood movie reviews.
Yeah. So quickly moving on, what would you say as a content creator is the hardest part of being a content creator?
Consistency. I didn't need to think about it. I did not need to think about it too much.
Wow.
Consistency, yeah.
It's interesting that there was a time, if you had asked me, I'd have said, oh no, consistency is easy, just show up. But at that time, what was I doing?
You were like busy.
Exactly, right? Then I had just started, and how I said that was just on my WhatsApp, just having conversations with people. Like, it was that simple. It wasn't always easy to show up every week. There were times where I was exhausted. There were times where I was not even feeling too well. There were times where I just did not want to be online.
Yeah.
Right?
That happens.
So when you now get older and then, you start to grow what you do content-wise, you start to grow an audience, you start to grow a community, you start to grow people that look out for your content.
Yeah.
And then you still have other things that you do, right? For instance, you mentioned like 3 other things that you do aside from the reviews of Nollywood movies. So it's like
juggling act,
right? How would you say so far you have been able to maintain consistency?
I haven't, if I'm being honest. I haven't. The idea with all the platforms, with the podcast, with the personal finance YouTube channel, with the Nollywood movie review channel, the idea is to put out at least one video a week for each of them.
Okay.
But I've all year, all 2024, I've been struggling. Maybe there've been 1 or 2 months where I was on it, right? But it's been hard because, I mean, last month the issue was national grid. You remember, right?
My goodness. Oh my God.
Flashbacks. PTSD. National. Thank God we're not hearing national grid every 2 days now. As
this.
Sorry, I've triggered already.
Just let me say, because if it's not network, it's light. If it's not light, it is like there's always one issue or that.
Yeah, that's making it hard. That's making life hard. So consistency has been hard for me. Now, what's making consistency hard for me this month is the fact that I've taken on a client who their work is very demanding on my time, and I've already kind of come to terms with that my own stuff will suffer. And as a result, and I'm the kind of person I am, I'm very honest with myself. This is a money matter, it's a cash play. What I'm going to make from the client is more than what I would make if I focused on my content, even though December is a very lucrative month on YouTube and content wise, because just generally there's money flying around in December.
Catch your own.
Catch your own, but bills too are high in December, so it kind of cancels out. So yeah, I've been honest with myself that look, I may need to put my own thing to the side, pick up in January, and then focus on this client and all that. So it's not easy. It's a constant struggle. I maybe I can push myself, but I'm also in with regards to being a creative and creativity. It's very easy to want to do more and to push yourself, but then you now burn out. Then you now start questioning if you are doing it for the love of it, or because you feel beholden to your audience and the people who are expecting you to show up, and you kind of just lose focus and you find yourself coming back to square one and all that. So I'm careful not to feel overwhelmed or let myself get overwhelmed. I'm human and I take it as I can and I do what I can, and I keep my audience, I try and keep them informed, either privately, individually when they ask me via DMs or via messages, or in the comments. They say, Tito, it's been long. How far with this? How far with that? I say, guys, please, I'm busy. I'm working on the client's thing, whatever. But I try, and they're understanding. And yeah, the only challenge I have with inconsistency or the price I'm paying is that I know that it's costing me money, because the internet and even customers or potential clients, they like consistency. They if they know you're going to show up, then they can trust you, they can give you a call, they can give you business. So I know that that's where this inconsistency thing is costing me.
So do you have, based on everything you just said, do you have any plans going forward to reduce the cost of inconsistency on your content creation?
That's another great question. I'm not thinking of pruning anything, to be honest. I don't think I'm pruning. I think still hoping going into 2025 to keep on doing, for now anyway, at least one video a week. And I don't know, something's got to give. I feel like I haven't done what I need to do in terms of scheduling. So if I sit down and I schedule my week, for example, right, there's always power at night, right? So if I say that power is my challenge, but I typically film during the day, so why not plan to film at night? At night when there's light, on specific days, rather than just leaving it open-ended. So let me try and schedule my pre-production, my production, and my post-production, and see if that works. And also try and cancel out all the noise and all the distractions, reduce the time I spend on social media and all those things that suck my time or distract me. So let me try that maybe in January and see if it works.
So in January, I'll reach out to you and ask
accountability partner, please.
I would definitely. That just brings me to my next question on the kind of content that you create. When you, first of all, do you have like a backstory as to how you say creating content? Is that like a backstory? Like, is it something you happened upon? Right? If I'm correct, you studied economics.
Yes, I studied economics in Unilag.
So how did you? Oh, you went to Unilag.
I did.
Plenty of.
Well, we are in Lagos.
So how did you move from studying economics in Unilag to becoming a content creator that gives out information about finance?
Okay, the abridged version, right? So after school, I served in Kano. I worked in a stockbroking firm. Then I came to Lagos, worked in another stockbroking firm. And then I now moved to human resources, a human resource consulting firm. So, but I always had a flair for not numbers, but finance, right? And so when I left the HR consulting firm, I went to go and do a course for like a year, right? And I wasn't working during that time. So that was when I decided to pick up photography and to see if I could do the whole entrepreneur thing. And it worked. And, you know, when the course was over...
Why photography though?
I was into photography at the time, so video hadn't entered the picture at this time. So I'm
just like taking pictures.
I like capturing memories, documenting people's, you know. Yes, photographer as well.
You took some pictures for me before, so that's what I'm doing.
That's why hyping me. So I tried photography. I was an event photographer. So it was weddings and events. Now it's non-wedding events that I do, because weddings are very hectic. So things like trainings, weddings are hectic. They require a lot of energy and they're full day events. So,
but there's food.
Yes, but yeah. So you're at a wedding from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
And you see
Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking about it from like a guest. I don't get it by 7 a.m.
Not like as a vendor, somebody working.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you're working at these events, you know. So now if I do like trainings, conferences, portrait shoots, just headshots and things like that, things that don't last more than 4 or 5 hours, you know, and they pay decent. So maybe what I would get from one wedding, I can get maybe from 2 training or, you know, conference events coverage. But in terms of, you know, hours, it evens out kind of, but not to derail. So I was doing the photography thing. That's how I entered entrepreneurship. It was good. I did that for a while. Now video, I wanted to, people who know me, they know that even till now, I talk about relationships a lot, because the whole...
I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Because I saw a video, you were on another podcast recently.
Right.
Right. And then they were asking you some questions about relationship. And you were mentioning about how that the focus on your podcast is on relationship. Right. So I was going to get there, but I was like, let's take it step by step.
Okay, so coming back, so I used to talk about relationships a lot, and I kind of still do. And I didn't want to type and do text-based like posts or blogs, essentially.
On content,
on content, because I'm not a typing person or a word person. You know, I'm more a video or audio, more of a video person. If it's between text, video, and audio, I'm more of a video person. So I said, okay, let me just talk on camera about this relationship stuff. So that's how I started, you know, doing that stuff on YouTube. It was mainly relationship stuff at the time. Then it pivoted, before it now pivoted to personal finance.
So at what point did you pivot? Did someone ask you a question, or did you just see a need in the market and then you're like, okay, people don't understand as much as they should about like stocks, about like savings, about like investment?
I think it was the latter. I think I felt like I had reached the inflection point with the relationship topics. I mean, when you talk about relationships, there's only so much you can say, especially when it's just you know, and I never had a guest. I was just talking from my point of view. So I think I got tired of it. And in terms of personal finance, people were talking about, you know, asking questions, what stock do you buy? And I think also from my time working in the capital market, people had lots of questions. At one point, I was working in customer services. So we used to interact with a lot of clients who would ask lots of questions, and these questions were still coming up. So I said, okay, how do you buy stocks? What are the stocks to buy? How do you open an account at a stockbroking firm and all that? And then the apps were coming up at that time. Piggyvest, Rise, Bamboo, Cowrywise and whatnot. So I, you know, do videos on how to sign up on these things. So, you know, so that people were watching and say, okay, this is how, you know, it's not that big a deal. This is how to go about it. So that's how that started, and it picked up. And the more I did it, the more I saw the need for it, the more people appreciated it. So I doubled down and dove right into it. The challenges, or the point where I kind of hit a brick wall, was during COVID in 2020. So
how so?
So in COVID, everybody was at home.
Exactly.
But people are not spending money. And we didn't know how long, during lockdown, we didn't know how long we're all going to be at home.
Okay.
So everybody was holding their money.
Okay.
You know, wearing nylon bags to go and buy groceries. People were holding, people were very apprehensive. You know, and people were thinking, people were very concerned about money. People were thinking about to make money from home and all that. So that was not it. People weren't investing. People went, now in hindsight, we saw people actually cashed out during COVID.
During COVID.
People that did courses, people that did how to make money at home, people that were, crypto and all that. Although now we can say that, but when we're inside, where all of us were struggling for our lives. So nobody was thinking of how can I invest money? I'm not working. I'm not working to earn money because I'm at home. You're talking about where will I invest my 20K, my 50K. So things went a bit slow at that time, but they picked up still during lockdown. But so at the after effect of lockdown, life was just hard. The cost of living increased, and people were getting laid off. So the personal finance space wasn't as buoyant anymore, essentially. So
and you went into relationship.
I went to Nollywood reviews, because even during COVID, people were still releasing Nollywood films. People were at home watching
people
stuff.
Were still watching movies.
In fact, they were watching it more because everybody's at home. People were really watching stuff. So that's when I now started, and it's not as if I was following the trend. I've been a creator and one who actually wants to make money and be successful or prosperous. Sometimes you have to look at what's going on, the trends, what's happening, what is moving, and if you can, so far it's not too far out of your zone of expertise, then try it, which I think is what I did.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question, right? We'll be rounding up very soon.
Sure.
And we're gonna have to take random question, right?
Random question
is like one of my favorites. But how do you, as a creative, ensure that you drown out the noise and still find your foot in a world that's constantly evolving, right? We just spoke about trends. We just spoke about how that there's always something new out every day. How do you make sure that I'm following trends, but I'm still doing what I want to do?
It takes a lot of knowing who you are and self-awareness, probably. And if you have an idea of how to do something, it's fine to get inspiration, right, from everywhere. I get inspiration for my personal finance content, my Nollywood reviews, but I'm not going to include or imbibe that inspiration into my style unless it feels natural to me.
Okay.
If it's something that is not natural to me, I most likely will not do it. People can say, oh, the way people are doing reviews now, they are doing it like it's a TikTok video. They are doing it on the streets. They're asking anyone on the street and all that. It's not my style, and it's not my style. Let me just leave it like that. Okay. But never say never. I may find a way to make it work. It's true. I may find a way to make it work and imbibe it, but for now, it's not my style. And honesty, staying true to yourself, it really does. It helps. It really does help, and you have to say no a lot sometimes.
Yeah. That's definitely something I know I'm learning. Learning how to say no.
Yeah.
Like I am really, really learning that. But we are quickly moving into random questions. Now, if you're watching this for the first time, or you're hearing this for the first time, random question is where I ask my guests personal and introspective questions that sort of just give us a sneak peek into who they are.
Okay.
Right? So very, very simple though. So I'm supposed to bring the paper part too, but I don't know, I always forget. So we have questions 1 to 8. So quickly pick a number and then I would read out your question.
My favorite number is 5. So let's
why is 5 your favorite number?
I was going to give you a Christian brother answer as a number of grace.
Okay,
but I just like 5. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just always like 5.
All right. So number 5, the question is, what are you most proud of?
Wow. Oof. I don't have anything at my fingertips or at the tip of my brain or my head, right? I think I'm most proud of the fact that not most proud. I wouldn't say most proud, but what is coming to mind now is the fact that, and it's hard to capture this, and it's hard to, for me, I'm one of those people that it's hard to talk about myself, but as I'm saying it,
I know.
You can testify.
From our discussions during the residency week, I already knew that, like, the sneak peeks I got into your personal life were very tiny.
Okay.
And I had to be intentional about those questions.
Right. Okay. I'm proud of the fact that I'm different. I'm not like most guys.
Different how?
That's a good question. We might be here all day. We don't have the time already.
Yeah, I know.
I think differently. I'm empathetic. And like I said, it's hard to. You know these things about yourself, but to now come and say it's like you're trying to pitch yourself or you're selling yourself is a bit weird.
I think you're blowing your trumpet.
Yeah, you know, but
don't you need to blow your trumpet sometimes?
When there's money on the on the table, where you need to sell yourself or pitch yourself because of money or because of a deal or something like that, fine. But just talking to your, talking to another person trying to say, but anyway, I digress. And you attest, and people tell me that you're different, you're level-headed, you're not like other guys or most guys, be it in a romantic context or just in the way you relate type of context. I'm empathetic, I'm thoughtful, I'm mindful. And I mean, we're in this world, we're interacting with one another. I interact with other men, and I see how I'm not like guys, like a lot of other guys, in terms of how I reason. In good ways and in bad ways, in good ways and in bad ways. So I have a unique outlook. I'm different, and I like the fact that I'm different.
Okay, he said he's different, and I really want to know why he thinks.
But we don't have enough time. We have to round up.
Right? Because I'm really curious, because you mentioned that you interact with other guys, and you see the way they are, and that's not the way you are.
For example, I'm not like into sports. I play tennis and I swim, but most guys is football. I'm not into that. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't womanize. I don't go clubbing. So in school, a friend of mine told us, he said, Tito, wait, they carry woman, they drink, they smoke, they do. So it is what
and
it
I
is.
want to ask.
Funny enough, the guy is not a pastor himself. In America.
But rounding this off, right? You spoke earlier on about how that you do have conversations on relationships. Do you have a personal relationship rule that you live by?
You mean like in romantic relationships?
Yes.
Personal relationship rule that I live by. Friendship is important. I'm a proponent or a believer in the saying, marry your friend. So yeah, and I when dating, I prioritize friendship. I try and establish friendship first, because I feel that you won't always all the time feel all those romantic, amorous feelings for your partner. But if you're friends, then the friendship thing, like an inverter, or that can kick in when you're not feeling the lovey-dovey. And you're with your person, you're with your friend, and you're cool. So I think the two go well together, and I really prioritize friendship when it comes to romantic relationships.
I would look forward to one of your videos on relationships.
Check out the last season of the 30-minute podcast. My podcast was very heavy on relationships.
I would definitely.
Yeah. I'll send you something.
Right. So, last words, Tito, for people who are listening at home. Any last words for them?
Any last words? The theme of this episode was creativity and being a creative,
being a creative, finding your fit in, like, drowning out the noise, basically, and finding your own self.
Take some time if you're trying to be a creative, or if you already are a creative but you feel like you're being pulled in different directions. Sit down, take some time to reevaluate what you want to do, what's your main objective, and how you want to go about things. This is December, and it's a good time to do all this kind of reassessment. I'm planning for the year. I'm going to do that. I do that every year. I'm yet to even plan for December. This week I'm most likely going to plan for December and plan for 2025 and plan for January. Take some time and sit down and think of what you want to do, what works for you, and try and just take baby steps.
Okay, take baby steps, guys. I hope you got that. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and across all other podcast streaming platforms. It's your girl Oreoluwa. Bye.
Bye. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.